It's a big couch, man.
You recording?
Yeah.
Round two,
here we go. So,
I think it's time to make some changes. I've been learning, I've been growing through these different stages. Up and down, it's part of life, or so they say. I swear I lose hope nearly every other day.
welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to talk openly and authentically about the struggles that we overcome, strategies that we use to overcome them, and how they help shape us into the people that we are today. Sometimes I like to talk to other people as well, and that's exactly what I'm doing as well today. I'm here with Aidan, and you've seen him before in my other videos. You saw him way back when I interviewed him in episode 2 of this podcast, and you saw him a couple weeks ago with Two Boys, One Couch, our first special together here as roommates, chilling out. It's kind of like our first opportunity, a first crack at taking an in-person chat with somebody, taking this podcast away from Zoom and kind of going back to the in-person, get that human connection in, which I appreciate quite a lot. I know you do as well. We're big advocates on the benefits of technology and how it keeps us connected, but also we do try and distance ourselves from being addicted to social media or technology, and we're just trying to be a little bit more present in our day-to-day lives, and that's exactly what we did this month. And so Aidan, I'm going to let you talk about this because you've been actually really excited to chat about this, but tell people I did talk about it a little bit in the beginning of the month, but tell people what we've been up to this month and how you found it so far.
Right. Yeah, we're back. We got our beards now this time.
Yeah, we're bearded up, man. Beard gang.
A little bit. His is a little more prominent than mine, but we're getting there. Month of mindfulness. This was an experiment for me, and it was kind of a challenge from Mark's point. He came up with this. I was like, you know what? I'm in, man, and we're going to give this a go. As we said, there's a lot of things that Mark does in his life that align with me as well, and our values and stuff. So it's something that I wanted to jump at the opportunity of too. So we did our month of mindfulness. We wanted to talk about this has been the whole month. This is the last day of the month. We're going to do our recap. Essentially what we did for the entire month of January was we read at least 10 pages of a book every day. We stretched every day for 15 minutes, I would say. Minimum 15 minutes. We exercised every day. I think it was a minimum 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, what else did we do?
Your favorite one, man.
Oh, journaling. Yeah, my favorite one I want to talk about today.
Oh, and meditating too.
So we did journaling and meditating. Yeah, wow. So there's a lot that really had a big effect on me. Number one would be journaling. I've always been I've always had a knack for writing. It was something that after I finished school, high school and stuff, I did a little bit in college, but after I finished school, it was a part of me that I kind of ignored, and I never wrote anymore, so this was really nice getting touching back into that side of myself that has been lost for a long time. It really kind of helped push past some barriers in my mind. It was actually really I had a lot of revelations with journaling. I find journaling is the best because you can't lie to yourself when you're journaling, you can't sit on something and then talk yourself out of it or things like that. When you're being raw and authentic with yourself and you write it down right away, there's no bullshitting your, for lack of a better word, what you're trying to say. You say it, and sometimes it can be a slap in the face to yourself. Sometimes it can be gratitude for yourself. Sometimes it can be a pat on your back. It's a really good way to get in touch with yourself and be more present, I find.
What do you think is the biggest difference? Because I know that you so to give everybody a preface, I frequently like to just give myself a little challenge for the month, whether it's stay 100% sober or run 5K every single day for the whole month. But this time was the first time where it wasn't really a physical challenge. It was more something just meditate every single day, read every single day, journal every single day, kind of have a better relationship with my mind to ground myself a little bit more. And now I know you attached yourself to journaling a lot. That was one thing that you were dude, I really love journaling, and this is kind of working the best for me. This is something I see the most reward from out of all of it. But like, I know a lot of the time when I bring up like journaling with people, they're like, oh, why can't I just think about those things? Why do I have to write it down? Like, what do you think the difference is between like just sitting there and thinking about these things, or maybe meditating on it? What do you think the difference is between doing that or like actually writing it down? Like, how do you think it's different?
Well, personally, I believe when you write things down, they're more inclined to become a reality. Like, when I put things in writing, I keep myself accountable. Thoughts in my head, again, like, I'll talk myself out of things. I'll be like, I really want to do this one thing, or like I want to say something to someone, and I'll just forget, or I'll just talk myself out. Maybe you shouldn't. Like, what if they think this of you or whatever? But if you write things down, man, it's like, it's there. It's in writing. Like, now it's like, I want to do this thing. I wrote it down. I'm lying to myself now. I'm letting myself down if I don't do that thing. So I feel like it creates like a new sense of accountability for yourself.
Yeah, I always like to think of it as well. Like, this is kind of a weird, like, funny way to think of it. It's like, I think of it as that's your time or your opportunity to be like the writer of your story. Like, every other time when you're living is like you're being the actor, you're being the main character of your story. But like, that's the time when you sit down and you're writing, like, tomorrow I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do that. Like, you're actually being the writer of your life, like creating what's going to happen. Even though obviously you can't just like write down whatever and have it happen. But like, if you focus on like the things you can control, like, hey, tomorrow morning I'm going to, maybe tidy up the kitchen before I make breakfast. Like, little things like that. If you just think about doing it, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you'll get around to it, but chances are when you go to do it, you'll be like, oh, I'll just make breakfast, then tidy, right? Whereas like, if you write it down, I'm going to tidy my kitchen before I make breakfast, then you're probably more likely going to do that. Like, I think that just the act, I think you're right. Like, the act of writing it down is like making it concrete. You're like, well, I can't lie to myself now.
Yeah.
Out of like all the other things, like, so month of mindfulness was like a monthly challenge where every single day, like Aidan said, we're going to read every single day, journal every day, stretch every day, meditate every day, and exercise every day. Like, out of all of those, obviously exercise is something that we've both always done. Journaling you took to pretty naturally. You really enjoyed that. Like, what were the other benefits that you found from like doing these actions?
So I still go like step by step for reading. I mean, those that know me know that I was never a reader. Like, I probably read, like, I could count on one hand the amount of books I've read in my lifetime before this. And, but when I made it a challenge for myself to read 10 pages a day, it became like so natural to me, where I thoroughly enjoy reading now. Like, I get up, it's the first thing I do in the morning, and I feel like I'm just gaining so much more knowledge, and I'm filling my head with such more positive things than if I woke up and checked my phone for half an hour, or woke up and scrolled through Instagram, watched TV, something like that. Like, I'm literally learning, and it like relaxes you too. It's really, really nice way to get up in the morning. So I kind of just incorporated it into my morning routine, and it just became totally a habit, to the point where now I know I won't stop reading every day. Like, I'm going to keep reading every day. And that's because of what we did this month. We set a habit for, well, I know Mark was already on that path, but for me, I started a good habit that I know I'm going to keep with me. And that's coming from somebody who, at least told myself forever I didn't like reading. I do like reading, though. I found that out about myself. I really do enjoy reading. So that was very beneficial for me. Yeah.
Now, obviously, like, I'm pretty huge on like discipline. I'm pretty big, like, right now at this point in my life, at least, I'm trying to solidify like routines that I can do on a regular basis, and not really Groundhog Day my life, but have some sort of concrete like routine to it. Like, what, like, do you think, I guess is a better question, is like, do you think that there's benefits to doing a little bit of these important things every single day? Or maybe the flip side of that is like someone who just like rarely reads, but when they read, they sit down and crack out like 100 pages. Like, do you think that there's like a better way to go about it? Like, to read 10 pages every single day, or to just sit down and crush half a book? Like,
I would say, I mean, to each their own, but for me, it would be more so, more frequency of less reading. So like if you were to read, like we did 10 pages of a book rather than like every day, rather than half a book in one day. The reason being is when I feel like 10 pages is perfect for not only your attention span, but also you're able to like really soak it in and like dwell on it. Like I'll read first thing in the morning, I'll read those 10 pages, and then at work all day or like after work, I'm still thinking and like digesting what I read. So I feel like if you're reading a huge chunk, it's not gonna essentially be the same, right? So for me, it was like 10 pages was perfect. It was like I still had my attention span, like I was able to soak in everything without, you know, nodding off and falling asleep. And then for the rest of the day, I can really think about the words that I took in.
That's sick. Yeah, I kind of have the exact same way to think about it. Like with all these actions too, like it's not just like about like reading or anything like that, but it could be with like any of these things, like with journaling or exercising. Like it's one thing if you like, you know, train super hard once a week, but like it's, in my opinion, a lot better to just work out, you know, 45 minutes to an hour pretty hard every single day. And then, you know, like today, this morning was a perfect example of like, you know, you don't have to do it hard every single day. Like this morning I woke up and I was super sore. I had a hard workout yesterday and we just went on a 40-minute walk, like 45-minute walk. I came home and banged out some push-ups and did some planks for a bit. Like that's like kind of like almost like an active rest day, but not like, and that's not going to be everybody's active rest day. But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, you just have to move every single day.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's kind of lower frequency is going to be different. It's going to be relative to your fitness level. But the point I'm trying to drive home is that, you know, when you find these high impact parts of your life that are going to impact you quite a lot, like exercise or journaling or reading, things that are kind of like fundamental to a routine, it's a lot better to do them on a regular basis. Any way that you can do it on a regular basis is like the best way to go about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's to like kind of backpack that, like when we were the exercise every day, for me, like, yeah, like Mark and I, we exercise all the time anyways. It's just part of our lives, fitness. But for a long time, fitness became a kind of a chore for me. But with this challenge, I realized to myself, I wanted to exercise every day. It became like, it wasn't a job, it wasn't a chore for me. It was like, I wanted to go to the gym every day. I wanted to exercise every day. I wanted to go for runs and stuff. So for me, that was really big. And I don't know if that's to do with kind of a little mindset shift this month and with all the other stuff we're doing too. But that's one thing I really did notice, was the want was there. I've always done it, but I've not always wanted to do it. You know what I mean? So I think there's a difference there.
Do you think that it's like just like living intentionally? You're like, because like there's like the one side where we've just always done it. So it's like, oh, I'm just going to go to the gym today because I always go to the gym. It's just part of my routine. Whereas you're like, now I'm choosing to put this into my schedule. I'm choosing to do this. I'm going there with an intention, with a purpose. Like I'm going to exercise for 45 minutes. And while I'm exercising, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be present. I'm going to be thinking about the exercise I'm doing.
Right.
Like I know the rest of my day's figured out because I've already scheduled this. I've already thought of when I'm going to do it all. Like, do you think that played a role in it, or is it?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of switched my mindset to like, this is good for me. Like, I want to do this because I know I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel more energized. It was not, I switched mindsets from I want to do this to look a certain way to I want to do this so that I feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're like thinking about more of the, I guess the end result was better connected with like who you are.
Right.
Sick, man. That's really dope. I think, what was I going to say? There was something I was going to say because, I was going to ask you, when in your life did it become a chore to start working out? Was it with your injury or?
Before that, like, bodybuilding did that for me after a certain amount of time, where I just got, I didn't enjoy going to the gym anymore. I didn't enjoy exercising. It just, I feel like it became something so far away from what I wanted it to be in the beginning that I just lost interest altogether. So like for me, I got into fitness before bodybuilding was it was a lot different. I was way more into cardio. I was really I come from a sports background. I played multiple sports, and that's what my fitness was. But when fitness became lifting heavy and just gym based with nothing else, I just felt, it took me up here, and then it slowly declined down, and it just came to a point where I was like, I don't even enjoy this anymore. So that's why this month of mindfulness has been so nice, because coming back from that injury I had, I've split it into gym and also outdoors, and that's what I really enjoy. So it's like I'm not spending all my exercise time at the gym anymore. I'm spending half in the gym and half running, walking, seeing the world, going out, and to me that's like the perfect blend.
It's kind of like approaching it differently, because like before you're just like, I just need to train in the gym, I need to lift weights, and that's what like a quote unquote workout was for you.
That's right.
And now it's like, now that your perspective or your goal is like, okay, I just want to be healthy. I just want to move well. I want to feel good. I want to, be able to, we were talking like, this kind of sounds like something that, not a lot of 25-year-old guys would talk about openly, but like, yeah, being able to pick up your kids when you're older, or being able to pick up your grandkids when you're much older, like being able to function properly as a human being for your whole life.
That's right.
Right? And then once your ideas change to that, it's like, well, I just need to move every day.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't need to go to the gym and lift heavy weights. I don't need to be squatting 300 pounds. I just need to be moving. I just need to keep my joints moving well, just kind of feel good. That makes sense. That's kind of the exact same way that I viewed it as well. Like, if you told me a year ago that, actually no, a year ago I kind of did start doing a bit more cardio, but if you told me a while back, like maybe 2 years ago, that I'd be doing cardio for a workout, that just didn't even compute in my world. Like, that wasn't a thing, because I was just such a meathead bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And now that I'm just training, because it's like, dude, I don't want my heart to like be smashing away at my chest when I go up a flight of stairs. Like, I want to be able to just do human things, especially working in the trades and working in construction. Like, you got to be moving all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, I want to be able to feel comfortable at work.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's true, man. Like, that's what I found is because same thing for me when I was younger, bodybuilding and stuff, I didn't view running as a workout. That wasn't a workout. Or, like playing basketball, or like that wasn't working out. I just viewed cardio as a whole nother thing. It was like, the only thing and the only time I'll be satisfied is I'm working out in the gym. And that's just so wrong to think, like, and I think a lot of people still have that mindset where, for me, like back then, it was like train 6 days a week, heavy, hard, and then take 1 day off completely. But now it's like, forget that. I'm working out every day, but I'm just changing and adapting what those workouts are.
Yeah, and you're doing things that you like. Like, that's like one of the things I always say, like, as well, is like, you got to do things that you enjoy to do. Like, find something that you enjoy to do. Like, if your workout that you enjoy is like playing basketball, then do that. If you like playing soccer, then do that. Like, if you want to lift weights, then do that. But do something that you actually thoroughly enjoy. Don't just do something because it's like, oh, when my friends work out, they go to the gym. So don't just go to the gym. Like, you have to find what you enjoy to do. Dude, we were talking about, like, there's this place in Vancouver, shout out to the Hive, but like, you can just go there and do rock climbing. Like, if that's what you want to do for your exercise, do that.
Yeah.
Like, any way you can move and find, like, the analogy I always use is like anything that you can do that you can do that you'll lose track of time doing. Where you're like, oh shit, it's already been an hour. Like, that's what you need to be doing every day.
Yeah.
Then you're excited for it. You're like, oh, let's go exercise.
Yeah. And yeah, you need to find that thing. You need to do something every day. You just need to do something every day. Don't take full rest days, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like, that is your rest day. Like, when you think of a rest day, it's like, I'm taking a break from the stressor of my life to do the thing I enjoy. Like, that would be your rest day.
Yeah.
Like, today is a rest day because it's like, we just went on a walk. I came home and did a little bit of push-ups, and I was like, oh, I know that my posture's been bad. My friend, shout out Yorko Performance. We're doing shout outs all day today. But
I've got a couple shout outs too.
Yeah, well, we're going to throw them all out there today. But shout out Yorko Performance. He was telling me that, you know, I need to do a little bit of correctional work with my posture. So it's like, dude, I'm just going to do some planks today. Like, that's going to make my body feel better. Like, that was my exercise for the day.
That's right.
Because it's something that I knew this is going to benefit me later on. Right? I had a hard training day yesterday. Today it's just going to be like a 45-minute walk, pretty laid back for me. And then a little bit of a home workout. It lasted like 15 minutes.
And that walk that we did this morning, this is my rest day from the gym today. That was my workout today. A 45-minute walk. That was my workout. It was a walk.
Yeah, it's just move every day.
Moving every day. That's all it is, right?
I think like even dude, like 15 minutes in, I was like, man, my hips feel way better. Like I was really stiff this morning. And after like 15 minutes of walking, it's like, dude, my hips feel better. My ankles feel better. Like I feel a lot better just by doing a little bit. Like,
yeah.
That's really all you need is just like that little bit every single day. Man, I was going to say something as well. I always forget, man. Damn, that sucks. When you, the other thing I noticed as well though, is this happens with everybody. When they start reading and seeing the benefits of reading, especially with today's technology, they're like, dude, I can double down on this and do audiobooks as well. I've never met someone that like started reading and was like, I should also use audiobooks. Like I have way more time that I can utilize for this now that I've started to see the benefits from it.
100%, man.
What, so tell people as well, like what audiobooks have you listened to recently and how have they impacted you?
Okay, so yeah, Mark actually got me on the audiobooks because I knew what Audible was. I just never downloaded it and gave it a try. But so I've been essentially reading 2 books every day. So what I do is like on my way to work, when I walk to work, I listen to it. On my way to the gym, I listen to it. Anytime I'm on the road or going out and about, I've been listening to these audiobooks and learning so much. So the 2 audiobooks that I've listened to now are I Will Teach You to Be Rich and Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. And so I've been learning so much about finances. I've been learning and like taking in all this like inspirational and motivational speech essentially every day. Mm-hmm. And it's been having a big impact on me. Just the way I view life every day, the way I attack my day essentially has been different because of these books. And like, why not learn and gain knowledge and experience when you're doing things otherwise non-stimulating in your day, like going for a walk or, you know, driving in the car, sitting in traffic? Like, why not take that time to learn as well?
Yeah. And I think like if you think about the things you're intaking right there, like why do you think it is that we need to read books? Like why do you think it is that, say, you need to read the book I'll Teach You to Be Rich to gain that financial knowledge? Why do you need to seek that yourself? Were you ever taught that in your life?
No, it's just like, well, the brain starts deteriorating at a certain age, right? And we're essentially at that age now. It's really important to just keep giving your mind is like a sponge, right? It's important to keep gaining knowledge. Like we were talking the other day, like how we both know an unfathomable amount of lyrics.
Yeah.
Like we can just trigger it off the top of our head. Like just that alone, when you think about like what your brain is capable of storing, if you feed it basically the right things, it's like, you think of it like a diet. Like we're consuming nutrients, good nutrients for ourselves every day. Whereas when you're watching, reality TV shows all day and all you're reading is like memes on the internet and stuff, like think about what you're consuming, what your brain's consuming, just like what your stomach is, like you wouldn't feed yourself French fries every day, right?
Bro, some people would.
Well, some people would, but health wise speaking, like you wouldn't want to do that, would you? You want to give your body the nutrients it needs. Just the same thing with your mind. You need to surround yourself and saturate your life with like positive things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And like the other thing that I find is with when you're doing that, like you're supposed to be filling it with things that you haven't heard of before, right? Like reading that financial book, for me at least, one of the biggest impacts of that in my life was I had never heard some of that information before. Like that wasn't stuff that they taught me about in school, was like how to make a savings account and how to make sure that certain amounts of your paychecks go to that automatically. Like nobody ever taught me that really. Like, I mean, I did get some coaching from my dad a little bit, but to have it like actually broken down, like these accounts are for this account does this, like these are the benefits of doing something like this, like having someone break that down, like this is something that I've never even been taught before. Like I've always felt like that was something that was robbed from me. So I feel like when you're reading this kind of information, like you're taking back what you were given in the first place. Like it's like I'm gonna get as much information, as many perspectives as I possibly can. Like same thing with reading Goggins' book. It's like, dude, no one's ever told me about what the body can actually do. Yeah. Like this is a guy that's like showing you, like, guys, this is what you're capable of. Yeah. Like it's so sick to see the information that we weren't ever taught in school or by anybody else. Like it's like, I think one of the biggest things, like the most significant things about reading is like, if you're someone like me, like I remember saying to you like last week, it's like, dude, sometimes I feel like I need to find a mentor. It's like, dude, I've got a shelf of mentors over there. Yeah. Like I can hear about their perspectives, their struggles, all the things that they face and how it like helped them. And then I'm like, dude, I just have all these people I can learn from now. Yeah.
And that's just it. Like, don't stop educating yourself after school. Like, when you finish school, don't stop your education there. We're meant to learn forever.
Dude, if you're anything like me, your education doesn't even start until after school. Yeah. Right? Like, dude, I didn't give a fuck. I'll be honest. Like, I was a shitty student because I didn't understand the practicality of why I was learning the things I was learning. Yeah. Like I learned trigonometry and I never understood it. And then I started working in construction and it's like, oh, I have to understand how to do this math. Yeah. We literally redid trigonometry when I went to construction school. Yeah. Like it's like, now that I see the actual real life application, I'm interested in this. I want to learn this. Like I feel like for me, and this is something that I'll admit, like, yeah, it's my fault. I'm stubborn in the sense that if I'm not interested, I'm not going to try. I don't even care to try. That's how I was my whole life. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that I took away from myself. It's like, dude, I let myself pass up on all these opportunities because I just wasn't interested.
That's right.
And now I feel like for myself, like if you're somebody like me who went through all of those years of going through school where you're like, you know, maybe cheating your way through or just kind of trying to skim by, like this is the way to make up for that because you do have to make up for it. That's right. Can't skim by your whole life. Like that's not the way that it works.
Yeah, and it was the same for me in school, man. Like I never took it seriously, and now it's like I have that choice, and I'm gonna use my choice for the better, and I'm gonna say, no, screw that. I'm gonna like make sure I learn new things, and I'm gonna enjoy learning new things.
Well, I'm going to use it for my benefit.
And use it for my benefit.
Right? Like I'm going to try and put myself in a better position. So moving forward from doing like a month of mindfulness, sorry, are you going to incorporate these things in your life moving forward? Which ones like are kind of the easiest ones to stick into your routine? What ones did you like you were like, this is all right? Like, was there anything you like didn't see value in?
Okay, yeah. And before I answer that, I want a disclaimer here. I was able to fit all of these into my daily routine without a problem. I just want to make that clear. I have a busy routine normally, but I was still able to incorporate this, not a problem. I didn't have to change anything in my life, anything important to me, to do this. So I want to make that clear. Like everyone can do this. Even like Mark is an extremely busy guy. He's got time to do it every day because he puts it in, he wires it into his schedule, right? If you put it into your schedule and it's just a no matter what thing, yeah, you're gonna do it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, again, the journaling was very prominent. It'll continue in my life for sure. Reading, absolutely every day. Exercise every day. Again, with that mindset shift, I believe I will exercise every day now. And again, just different methods, different ways, different intensities, but I will move every day. What do we got here? Meditation. Meditation. So meditation has been something that I've never really done before. I kind of always like had a weird kind of like skepticism about meditation.
That woo-woo vibe.
The woo-woo vibe, like I just couldn't like, I can't see myself doing that, like sitting there, and, you know, like you kind of think of that like that guy's sitting there. Like, it's kind of you kind of think it's gimmicky, right? But in reality, it actually was very good. It grounds you, it brings you like insight in things, and it makes you more mindful, no pun intended, and it makes you like more present in what you do, I find. But it also is a very difficult task to master, because
it's the hardest one in my opinion out of all of these.
And that's the thing, is like I can sit there for 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and my mind is racing, and I'll catch myself and I'll stop, but then within, you know, your mind wants to constantly be on the go, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why it's such an important skill and so useful, if you can literally just sit there and like be, you know, and breathe and focus on your breathing. It's really, really good for like, yeah, grounding yourself, right? But it is quite difficult, and I don't think, even doing it every day this month, I still am nowhere near where I want to be with being able to meditate. So I will continue to meditate. I told Mark the other day, I don't like it, but I'm going to continue doing it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is I said, you know, I don't think I'll do it every day, but I'll do it like when I need it. And Mark's like, that means you got to do it every day.
Yeah.
And he's got a point. Like, if that's the way you tackle things, is like, I'll do it when I need it, it's never going to work for you, right? Do it when nobody's looking, essentially. Like,
yeah, right? I like to use the metaphor, the analogy, like, all of these things really, like between all of these things, and that's why I made the list exactly the way it is, because all of these things are undeniably like good for you in a certain way, whether it's like physically with your immune system, with your body, with your cardiovascular system, with your mind, like how disciplined you are. Like there's a discipline factor to doing something like this, where you're doing these 5 actions every single day. There's no substitutions. There's no way of like compromising with it. It's like, these are the minimums, and I'm doing that every day. There's no question, yeah. Right? And so there's the aspect of discipline there, but there's also the aspect of like, okay, you're exercising every day, you're reading every day, so you're going to be learning, you're journaling every day, so you're going to be more reflective, you're stretching every single day, so you're going to be able to exercise every day, right? Like, so it's all kind of, it ties somehow to your health. But the main kind of idea of it is to do these things every single day, even when you don't want to do them. That's right. Like, all of these things are, like I said, kind of circling back to the metaphor I use, is these things are food. They're not medicine. This isn't something that you do. You don't just start, you know, reading when you need to learn something. Like, you're going to try and learn it before you need to learn it, so that when you encounter the situation, you're like, oh, I read about this, yeah, so I know what to do. Yeah. Right? And when you're reflecting on things, when you're journaling, you're writing down, you know, situations that you deal with in the present day. Like, today I had to deal with this type of person, or I had to deal with this type of situation, and this is how I dealt with it. And you know what? I wasn't even happy with how I dealt with it. It pissed me off. Like, looking back, I haven't stopped thinking about, you know, maybe I should have said this, or maybe I should have done that, so that the next time you face that, you know exactly how to handle that situation, right? Yeah. When you're exercising every day, it's not so that when you have back pain, you're like, oh, I know the exercises to do. It's like you're exercising every day and you're stretching every day so that you don't get that back pain in the future. Like, it's not a medicine for the problem that you have. It's the food that you intake every day so that you don't get the problem. Yeah. Right? Like, that's why it's important. Like, you're like, hey, I'm really uncomfortable with the meditation part. It's like, that's why you need to do that more often. Right? Because you're uncomfortable with it. It's getting your regular maintenance done on your car. You're not waiting till your car breaks down. Oh, I know how to fix it, I read about it. You're doing it every day. It's like almost preventative, right? In a way. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. You're preparing yourself for everything. Yeah, like, think about the guy who's just like, oh man, my engine just blew up. This is going to cost me 10 grand. And it's like, well, did you do maintenance on it every blank amount of time? And he's like, no, that costs too much. It's like more than the 10 grand you have to pay right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, dude, why don't you just do the regular maintenance? And then think about, like, people are like, oh, okay, I see the car analogy. I could do regular maintenance on my car. But it's like, why don't you do that for your body?
No.
Why don't you do that for your mind? Like, this is the vehicle you're driving through life.
If you can take good care of your possessions, why can't you take good care of yourself, right?
Yeah. I think that people have, like, with, like, material things, we see how easily they deteriorate. So it's like, oh, I have to take care of my phone because I saw my last phone got a crack in the screen and I don't want that again. But then we can't, like, see the damage, like, on our body until it's just like, yeah, that guy had a heart attack at 35 years old. That doesn't make sense. It's like, well, what were his actions? Like, what were his behaviors? Like, sometimes it is genetic, right? But sometimes it's like, buddy was eating chili cheese fries every single week, like, you know?
And that's just it. We're always retrospectively thinking, like, you know, certain barricades and roads aren't put in until something tragic happens. You know, it's like, why can't we just prevent or do things prior to prevent these things from happening?
Yeah.
So it's like, we're always surprised when, you know, somebody we know is young and something happens to their health, when, you know, it's no big surprise when you do these things every day. Like,
well, if you do these things every day and then you have that, like, kind of end product, people are like, wow, you're so lucky.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, when it goes well, then it's like, oh, it must be luck. But then when it goes poorly, they're like, well, look at how he acts.
Yeah, man. Stretching. We haven't talked about stretching.
Stretching is funny, man. Aidan and I were stretching the other day. So the way that we've been doing it is literally scheduling it in right before bedtime. And he was literally laughing yesterday because he's like, what? 25-year-old guy roommates just sit there at 8 o'clock every single night and stretch together for 15 minutes. Like, like it is kind of funny that way, but there's two things that I'll say right off the bat there. A, surround yourself with like-minded people, because it'll make the shit that you want to do way easier to do, because you'll have somebody to do it with. You'll have that accountability. And B, that's the other thing is, you know, when you want to do things, you know, share it with others, tell people your goals, no matter what they sound like. Like, saying I want to stretch for 15 minutes every single day is something that a lot of our friends would be like, that's kind of weird to say. You know, most people I think would be like, yeah, I can see the benefits of doing that, but it's kind of weird for a 25-year-old guy to be like, I'm going to just stretch every day for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It sounds bizarre. But like going to your friends and being like, yo, bro, this is something I'm going to do. I'm doing it because I want to be able to be more effective at work. I want to be less sore all the time. And I want to be able to move good and pick up my kids when I'm older. Like, I don't think you can go to a guy that, you know, seeks responsibility, or a girl, I guess you could say as well. Like, I don't think you could go to a person that wants to accept responsibility, that wants to take on that action of, you know, I want to be a good parent, I want to do all these things. And then if you ask them, like, would you stretch every day so you feel comfortable picking up your kid? I think they're all going to say yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's something that we can all agree that's a good thing.
Totally.
But it's so difficult to do on a regular basis because, like you said before, that it's like, oh, I'm so busy, I have to do all these other things, I have all these other stressors in my life, like all this stuff that seems more urgent. I gotta, you know, check my Facebook, check my Instagram, whatever it is. But it's like, dude, when you tell your buddy, yo, we're gonna stretch 15 minutes every single day, trust me, you're gonna see the benefits. And that's like kind of how we held ourselves accountable. And then furthermore, you thought of like kind of a new thing to add to the challenge. You're like, we should listen to live music every single night when we stretch. Like, so we've been listening to like different performances from different bands to try and broaden our horizons. We're big music guys, but we've been trying to like kind of broaden our horizons and just listen to different bands, a new band every single night as well. But yeah, what do you like about stretching? Did I just kind of, maybe I covered it already, but I want you to just kind of go in, because I remember halfway through the month you were like, I don't like this at all. Like, you fucking hated the stretching. So like,
yeah, I guess like
did that get better, or?
Yeah, that's something that I'm not afraid to admit. Like, I hate stretching. I always have. That's why I didn't do it. But the thing is, like, I never stretched, and in my days of heavy lifting and all these things, I never stretched. and I'm paying that price every day. Like I live with that now because I'm 25 and I got aches and like issues with my physical health that I find like shouldn't be the case at my age, you know, lower back problems, hip problems, knee problems. So, and that's a direct result of just not stretching and paying attention to my body. So, I know I kind of say it's like a necessary evil for me now. It's like, I hate doing it.
Yeah.
But my thinking was, how can I make this more enjoyable? So that's why we incorporate the music. And I ended up really enjoying that because music for both of us is a huge part of our lives, and it's, you know, stimulates creativity in the mind, and it opens your mind to new ideas and things. And so I incorporated that into the stretching to ensure that I would do it every day and actually find something about it that I enjoyed. And it's like the time passes quicker. You know, I find like stretching can be so mind-numbingly boring that's why I didn't want to do it. You know,
Yeah.
It hurts sometimes, right? When you're sore and you're stretching, but it's not even that was the issue for me. It was just, I can't sit there for 15 minutes and just stretch. So what can I do to ensure this habit sticks with me, right? So that can be incorporated with anything in life. Just try to find something that will keep you coming to that thing you don't want to do.
Yeah, like I've always said as well, like, dude, I'm lazy by nature. There's a lot of things that I've been trying to make myself do, especially in the last couple of years, that I don't like doing. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, I hate reading, dude. I don't like reading. I don't even like journaling. Like, pretty much anything where I'm sitting still, like, this is kind of a little bit different because I'm engaged. My brain's kind of firing away. I'm kind of like listening to you and then saying other things. So, like, it's a little bit different. But when I'm reading or I'm journaling and I'm just sitting there, like, that's uncomfortable for me. I don't like doing that. There's a lot of aspects of these things that I don't like to do. So I find ways to try and hack the system, to try and cheat the system. So that's why I like the music idea, because it's like, well, yeah, I have to do this stretching, but it kind of allows me to just zone out and listen to music, which is, that I can do. Like, that I can do, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with like going running. It's like, well, I'll just listen to like this motivational speaker that I enjoy, or I'll listen to, you know, an audiobook that'll help me out, that I'll learn something from. Or, dude, sometimes I just listen to comedy. Like, I listen to like podcasts or comedy, like something that I thoroughly enjoy that, you know, for some people, they like watching Netflix. I like listening to podcasts. So that is like my relax time.
Right.
And then I just combine that with a chore that I have to do, because these are chores for everybody. It's not like I enjoy doing them all the time. I just know that it's going to make me happy long term.
Exactly. Yeah, think about the long term, right? And that's just it. Like, by incorporating the music, I found that I would actually look forward to stretching rather than dread it, because I knew I get to discover someone new today, or I get to listen to some songs that I love and watch a performer that I love doing their thing. Like, it became something I look forward to, even though the act itself was something I hated doing. So it's you kind of like counteract that negative with like a double positive. You're doing something good for yourself, and you're actually looking forward to it because of X, Y, Z, right? Or Z.
Yeah, so it's like instant gratification and delayed gratification. Like, you get both.
Yeah.
That's super sick, man. So what the other thing I was going to say is, do you think that having that structured into your life is something that you're going to continue doing? Or are you just going to like, do you think that it's become a habit for you already? Like,
Yeah.
do you think that just like, do you think you have to cognitively think like, okay, when I wake up, I'm going to read, and then I'm going to journal, and blah, 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 blah? Or is that something that's just natural for you now?
Yeah, no, I think this is something that's just now built in part of my routine now. So I'm going to continue doing these things just because it's now become innate for me, to the point where if I don't do it, I feel like I'm going to feel that in my day-to-day life. Like, if I don't do it, I'm not going to feel as good as I've been feeling. Guys, I've felt amazing this entire month, and I'm not even just saying that. This has been super eye-opening for me, and a really, really great experience. And we're not the only ones. Like, Mark has people reaching out to him all the time. I've had people reach out to me because I shared that I was doing this in the beginning. Shout out to my buddy Max Hamfeld, who actually sent me a message on Instagram the other day, checking back in with me, because at the beginning of the month he said, hey, that sounds like something I'd like to do, man. And then out of the blue, like a week ago, he sent me a message saying, dude, like this has been amazing. Like I'm reading again, I'm journaling, and I'm enjoying it. And then he even sent a follow-up picture like a week later of the 12 books that he's been reading this month.
Wow.
And he's like, this is what I've been reading. And I was like, dude.
He crushed 12.
You know what I mean?
Or he started 12 books.
He's like, this is what I've read in January. And it was like 12 books, and one of them was David Goggins Can't Hurt Me.
Really? Such a sick.
Super sick, man. So it's like, you're starting,
shout out to
like,
Max, man.
we're starting these gears for people like that are in all of us. Like Mark did that for me, and now we can both pass this on to others too. And it's like, we're not the only people that are going to benefit from this, right? It doesn't take a certain person to benefit from doing these amazing things for yourself. Everyone can benefit from it.
Yeah. And I think that as well, like, kind of coincides with the idea of, like, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Like, if you surround yourself with, you know, people that are doing, like, no matter what, when you surround yourself with people, you're going to take on the actions and behaviors and thought processes, the emotions that they all have. If they're stressed out all the time, you're going to become stressed out eventually. If they, you know, smoke cigarettes, you have a higher chance of smoking cigarettes. If they, you know, drink a lot of booze, you have a higher chance of drinking a lot of booze. If they're stretching all the time, you'll probably be like, why is this guy stretching all the time? He seems like he moves a lot as well. Like, how does this guy have so much energy? Maybe I'm going to try and pick up a couple of these behaviors as well. Maybe it's cognitive like that, or maybe it's just like subconscious where, you know, I had someone message me yesterday and they're like, dude, after watching your Instagram story all the time, like I bought a journal and it's really been helping me out.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even, maybe it was cognitive. They're like, oh, Mark said this. But what I'm assuming is it's subconscious, and it's like, this guy seems to be doing this, and he's like, it seems like it's benefiting him.
Right.
So maybe I'll give it a shot. You know?
It's like that saying goes, be the change you want to see. And like, everybody always says they want to see change in the world, and this is how we can start doing it. When you do certain actions for yourself that benefit for yourself, people that you know and love and who are in your circle are naturally gonna pick up on some of those things. Like if I live with Mark, if Mark was doing these things every day and I was just chilling on the couch, I'd feel pretty rotten about myself, right? Like I'd be like, wow, this guy's doing all these things for himself and I'm just doing nothing. And I might try to, like, you know, reason with myself and say, no, those things aren't for you. But in reality, like when you see people doing great things for themselves, you're going to want to do them too. That's just how it works, right? So start doing these things and people in your lives will follow. And that's how we can kind of try to make a difference with mental health, with fitness, right? Just actions speak louder than words, and just do.
Yeah, it's like that quote. It's like, don't spend your time thinking about what a better person would be. Just be it.
Just do it.
Yeah, just be it, right? Like whatever you're thinking, oh, if I did this, I'd be better. Or, oh, if I did this, I could add something to my personality. Or if I did it this way, then, you know, I would get this much more money back. Like, don't think about those things. Just do those things.
Yeah.
Like, just give it a shot. And then it won't be like oh, I wonder if this, then this. It's like, oh, I know if this, then this.
Right.
Like 1 + 1 is 2. Like I figured it out.
Yeah, in a sense, that's really what it is, man.
Like it's just like, yeah, you do the action, and then you're like, that's what I can do for this, right? Oh, I feel like I haven't been very intentional. Well, I find that I'm more intentional when I journal, so I'm gonna journal now.
Yeah.
Like you and I were saying, like, this is kind of the best we've felt in a long time, especially during this month, and especially because we've been communicating so much about these things. It's like, oh, I'm really struggling with this, man. Oh, you are? Like, I really excel at that. But, like, I struggle with this. And then we're able to bounce ideas off each other and help each other with certain things. Like, what you're good at, I'm not necessarily good at. What I'm good at, you're not necessarily good at. But when we talk about those, then it's like, well, I can give you my tips, you can give me your tips, and that's how we continuously grow together. Right? And I think that's kind of what you're saying is like to make these impacts, like we have to kind of be a little bit more open. And to be more open, you have to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Right? Like this has been one of the best times of our lives. So in later years, we'll be able to reflect back and say, hey, you know, I felt really grounded when I was meditating more.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't meditated for a while. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do this for a couple weeks and see if it makes a difference. Right? Like, I think that's kind of huge is like, once you associate, okay, this is good for that, this is good for that, then you're able to kind of recoup and kind of put the pieces of the puzzle in that might be missing. Because these are things that, I'm going to be 100% honest, I don't think it's entirely possible to do these things every single day, like all the time. I think there's a select few people in the world that can do that. But I think that the more conscious you are of trying to, is like, that's where you're trying to get to.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. And it you know what? It does sound daunting. Like when, at the beginning of the month, when we said we were going to do these things, like back in December, I was like, dang, like, I don't know if I'll be able to journal every day. Like, I'll be honest, like, to me, it didn't seem like that would be, it wouldn't be as successful as it was. But I just want to reiterate the fact that, like, it really was like an addition to my life. It did not take away from anything. It actually just added so much value to my life, where now I'm just like, I can't see living without it. And that's just what it is. Like, at first it did sound like a lot to do these things every day, but I didn't even have to think twice about it. Like, one day in, I was already hooked. Like, it was just, I wrote all my thoughts down first thing in the morning, and I never looked back. Like, it helped me in my day-to-day life so much. So I'm gonna continue doing it. And that's the month of mindfulness, man.
So sick, dude.
It starts with a month, it becomes a thing.
Yeah. I think it's really funny how everybody's gonna have like their certain thing that they really, really enjoy about it, and everyone's gonna have their thing that they really, really hate about it. And I think that you learn so much about yourself just from trying to do something like that. Like, I think that it is kind of daunting when you're like, oh, I have to do this every single day. But then when you kind of take a different approach to it and you're like, I get to do this every single day.
Yeah.
Like, I get to do this every single day. Like, I see the benefits from it, and this is a positive in my life, not a negative in my life. Like, there's a lot of things that, you know, people complain like, oh, I have to go to work, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. And it's like, dude, there's a lot of people that are losing their jobs this year, that wish they could go to work, that wish they could do the things that you're doing. Like, it's almost like we're like, this is what you're meant to do, and you don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy, because that one perspective shift is like, okay, well, now I don't have to work. I get to work. I get to make money. And what does that do? It gives you more power. It's like, oh, now I can just do the things I want to do because I have the money for it. Like, what are you working for in the first place?
I think that's a super important mindset to have. Like, it's not, I have to read today. It's, I get to learn today.
Yeah.
Right? I have to work out today. I get to feel good.
Yeah. I get to be stronger than I was yesterday.
It's gratitude, man. And
huge.
And this, doing all of these things, they cultivate together, and they just become your reality. Like, it just surrounds yourself with positivity, I find.
Yeah. So the month of mindfulness makes you way more aware. And then the one thing that I'm just realizing right now, and this sounds so cliche and so like simple, like it's almost like something that you'd assume that this would be the truth, but you'd overlook it. It's like, once you're more aware of the things in your life, that's when you can be grateful.
Yeah.
Right? You can't really be grateful if you're just moving, go. You're not looking at what you have. Like, when you are writing down the things like, this happened to me today, this is something that I learned, this is this lesson that I learned, this is the value that I pulled out of this negative situation. It's like, that's when you can be grateful, even for the things that seem like a negative thing.
Yeah.
Super sick, man. Super sick.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. That's pretty much it, I think. I think that's a perfect recap of the month of mindfulness. I think, yeah, if you guys want to try it out, I would say you don't just have to do it in January. That's when we chose to do it, just because we wanted to set the year off right. And we just wanted to just kind of put ourselves in a better headspace. I know, like, for myself, the last end of like 2020, I was kind of in this, like, not a negative headspace, but I was getting stressed out. I was getting to the point where I was like, I feel like human connections dwindling away. Like, I was kind of letting all these things be daunting on me. And I feel like for myself, this month of mindfulness really helped kind of pull me out of that funk and it's almost like zooming out and viewing my life as a spectator. And it's like, well, I do get to do still, like this morning, it's like, dude, we got to do what we would dream of doing, like what my dream life would be. Like we got to wake up, I went for a walk, I did a little home workout, we went for brunch, and then I come home and record podcasts. Like, dude, that's the sickest life in my eyes. That's exactly what I want, right? And it's like, dude, we get to live our dream. Like, it kind of zoomed me out into a different perspective where it's like, this is, you know, not the most desirable thing, but I'm able to control what I can control. I'm able to put myself in a position where it's like, I'm going to juice as much enjoyment out of today as I possibly can. I think that that's what the month of mindfulness was for me, was like a perspective shift of like, with things might not be the way that you wanted them to be right now, but you can still try and make it into something that's good, like something that you can still go to bed at night and say, you know, I worked hard today, I achieved what I planned to achieve, I feel good about X, Y, and Z, and I still got to, you know, relax a little bit and chill out. Like, I think that kind of shift in perspective for me at least helped a lot.
Yeah, I think the big win for the month of mindfulness was being present with everything. And Mark always says living intentionally, and I love that. It really does bring you into these moments more, where it's like, at least for me before, and I know a lot of people can relate, like my life was just like one big chunk. It was just like work, gym, sleep, everything like this. Whereas now it became like work, focused on work. I think like at work, I'm enjoying it because I'm like in the moment. I'm doing these things. I'm not viewing it as this like long day ahead of me. It's like 8 hours of work, 10 hours or whatever I'm working that day. I'm working. I'm literally in the moment. I'm thinking about working. I'm not thinking about dinner. I'm not thinking about, like what I'm doing this weekend. I'm not thinking about hanging out with friends. I'm working. And then when I'm at the gym, I'm working out. And after when I come home, I'm in my zone. Like I'm in the moment more. And one thing I really, really noticed and I loved about this month is, dude, we talked about this today, like I have not been on my phone. Mm-hmm. And when I am on my phone, I'm in my notes, like writing notes. That's literally all I've been doing. My social media is down to like 15 minutes a day. I'm so much more present in my life. Like my life is structured, but not in a regimented militaristic way. It's in a very authentic way. Like I enjoy to do it. It's not like I'm so busy, I'm so scheduled. It's like, this is just my routine now. And it's so nice to just wake up, come out here, read, don't check my phone. We'll put music on, we'll write notes in our phone, but that's it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really, I know for a lot of people, and especially nowadays, the phones are an addiction and social media is an addiction. But creating alternative ways to like stimulate your brain, like reading, like walking, like journaling, that will make you realize that you don't need the phone.
Yeah.
You don't need the constant gratification. You don't need those things. You just need to find an alternative method to stimulate your brain.
Yeah.
And think of it as something that will positively carry you in your life, you know, rather than checking your phone and to see what everyone else is doing. You're living your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're in this like giant Sims game where it's like we're caring about what everyone else is up to, but not ourselves. And it's like, dude, you need to like focus on your own life.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
well, and when you focus more on your own life, like I find like this morning I kind of joked about it, but it was like when you have that kind of structure or some sort of a schedule to stick to, like it's like you can take a couple hours off in the morning and be like, hey man, I don't have to worry about it right now because I already know all of these things in my day are already scheduled. They're going to be taken care of at that time.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. So like I get that freedom in the morning. Well, I've already scheduled everything for the rest of the day. I know exactly what's happening, when it's happening, so I don't have to stress about it. And then when we do things like, sit down for a meal with somebody or you're having a conversation like this, then my brain is present. I'm actually thinking about the conversation that I'm having right now.
Right.
I'm actually more involved. Like that's when I say living intentionally, it's like I intentionally said, at this time, we're going to sit on the couch, and that's all I'm going to think about.
Right.
I'm not going to be thinking about what I'm doing after this. I'm not going to be thinking about the stuff that we have to do today. Like, it's like, this time is dedicated for this thing.
Yeah.
And then once I'm doing that, I'm not checking my phone. I'm not, off in my own head thinking about other things. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to somebody, and then I'm like, okay, they said this, this, and this. I really like this. It just makes you a lot more present. It makes you enjoy the things that you're actually working to enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I for me at least, I know you're pretty well the same. It's like, I'm making this money so that I can, spend time with the people that I love. Spend time and not have to worry about, am I going to be able to have to pay this bill in the future, or am I going to be able to do this? Like, it's like, I'm buying that time almost to be conscientious with the people that I love.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the cool thing about it for me, is like, I find, and you hear like Jocko say this all the time, like, discipline equals freedom. Like, I feel like the more that you schedule yourself, the less you have to schedule.
Yeah.
Because once you do it, you're going to be way more effective at it.
100%, man.
Right? Like, I went through this little phase, especially as well, like you saw it, where I would try and like edit all day, every day. And it's like, well, once I'm editing, then I'm distracted all the time. And it's like, now that I've actually scheduled like chunks of my day where it's like, I'm going to edit at this time. Then once I sit down to edit, I get it done. I don't have to worry about editing all week.
Right.
Because I sit down and just drill it out for like 2-3 hours hard.
Right.
And then I do, the same amount that I would do than if I went like 1 hour for 7 days, which would be like 7 hours of work. I can crush in like a 1 3-hour or 4-hour period, because I'm just intentional with that time. I'm focused, I'm dialed in, and I'm like locked in. I'm headphones on, and I'm like, this is my editing time.
Right.
Before was my chilling and chatting, podcasting, recording time. Now is like editing time. Later will be chill time.
It's literally just rewiring your brain, essentially, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, rather than giving yourself instant gratification all the time, it's allotting time for certain things, and then you can do those things after, right? Like, you can do all your editing in a chunk of time, and then after you can check your phone and see what's up. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm checking my phone during editing, right? You're living intentionally. You're doing one thing at a time. You're taking things one step at a time, and it just brings you into the moment better.
I think that you're right, because like where you get that addictiveness with like social media or anything like that is like, you get this feeling like I'm missing out, like something's happening and I don't know about it. And like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to learn about it quick enough, and I need to be in the know right now. Like, it's like that fear of missing out. And it's like, when you've scheduled that time, like, that's the thing, is it's going to be different for everybody. What you schedule is going to be different, and that's cool too. Like, if you're even scheduling in, like, some people are like, oh, I have to watch something like this. Like, I have to watch my show, or I have to watch football, or I have to watch, the Kardashians, or whatever you need to watch. Like, set a time for that then. If that's like your Thursday at 6 o'clock, that's what you do, then make it that. But don't be sitting there on YouTube all night the night before, because you've already got that time scheduled in, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna check my phone. I'm gonna work for 45 minutes, and then I'm gonna check my phone and be on it for 15, and then I'm gonna go back to work for 45 minutes. If that's your system, then when you're working and your phone goes off, you're subconsciously like, I'm gonna check that in 36 more minutes.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's my delegated time to check my phone. And realistically, like, there's nothing really that's super urgent on social media.
That's right.
That's kind of the funny thing, is like, we feel like everything is super urgent, but there's nothing urgent about that.
I think we've all been there, but when you get to the point where you're swiping and it's still the same posts you've already seen,
you're like, give me something new, give me something new.
You need to start rethinking about where you're at and what you should be filling your time with, right?
Dude, that's me sometimes too, though.
Hey, we've all been there. I've been there.
It's brutal, man. Oh, man.
Yeah. Month of mindfulness.
Month of mindfulness. This has been another episode of Two Boys, One Couch. If you guys have any topics you want us to talk about, if you have anything that you want to say about what we said today, then let us know. Aidan and I do the intros to all of my shows. You're going to do the outro today. The way I want you to do that is basically just leave the people with something positive. Leave them with a good message, something that will motivate them, inspire them, or just give them a good feeling today. Like, it doesn't even have to be super motivational, but just say something positive. Bring the spirits up of these people, man, that just stuck out and hung out with us just now.
Just be happy, man. Do what feels right. Do what you love to do. And do that every day. Simple as that.
Just do shit every day.
Do shit every day, man.
Just do something.
That's all you gotta do, man. That's life. Thank you. Mark D. Henny. Follow this guy if you haven't already. Subscribe to this guy.
Thank you, man.
All the info's in the info box below.
And one day you could be on this couch with us.
That's right. You could be sitting right here, smack dab in the middle of these two guys, having a great time talking about
just having fun and juicing as much enjoyment out of life as you possibly can.
That's right.
Dude, I want to stay here for the longest period of time in my life. I'm talking about I want to be in this life as long as I possibly can, and I want to get as much happiness and enjoyment out of that as I possibly can as well.
Nothing much more you can ask for than that, buddy.
Dude, that's it. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Have a good week, have a good month, have a good year for 2021. If you want to try out the month of mindfulness, it is read 10 pages a day, meditate for 10 minutes every single day, stretch for 15 minutes every single day, and exercise for 45 minutes every single day. You do that for 30 days or 31 days. I guess it's a 31-day challenge. Tell me you don't feel good after doing that. I guarantee you will. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Just plug it into your lifestyle. It takes up if you were to add up all that time, it takes up maybe 2 hours of your day. Just cut out an hour of useless shit that you do, because you probably do an hour of useless shit, and then just wake up an hour earlier and there's your 2 hours, and you could do that every single day. And I guarantee you make that sacrifice, quote unquote sacrifice, it's going to seem like it's not a sacrifice. You're adding to your life, like Aidan said. So yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening to this at. Let this impact the way you think today. If this was your last day on earth and you did those things and you executed on them and you feel like you achieved something, then I feel like that's a good day to have. And if you were to just live that way every single day, I guarantee you're going to be, in a better position. At least if you're not happy immediately after doing that, you're going to be in a better position for happiness. So go out and kill it. That's my little rant. Thank you guys so much, and peace out.
No worries, mate.